Let me start by saying something real simple. You don't have to stay poor. Now, before you start thinking, oh, here we go, another one of those motivational speeches, let me make it clear. I'm not here to sell you a dream. I'm here to tell you the truth. Being born into struggle isn't your fault, but staying there is a choice. Life deals people different hands, and not everyone starts from the same place. Some are born into comfort, while others wake up every day facing obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. It's easy to feel trapped when poverty is all you've ever known, when every corner you turn seems to lead back to the same struggle. But the truth is, poverty is a situation, not a life sentence. It's a condition, not a destiny. Many people grow up in environments where struggle is normalized. You watch your parents stress over bills. You hear conversations about making ends meet, and you get used to hearing the word can't attached to dreams. We can't afford that. We can't go there. We can't think about that right now. Over time, this mentality can get passed down like an heirloom, not because anyone wants to stay poor, but because it feels like the only reality available. It's hard to imagine wealth or comfort when every example around you points in the opposite direction. But here's the thing, poverty is a circumstance, not a permanent identity. It's like being stuck in traffic. Just because you're sitting still doesn't mean the road ahead is closed. It might be slow, it might be frustrating, but the path forward exists if you keep moving. The problem is too many people accept the traffic jam as the destination. They look around, see everyone else stuck, and decide that's just how life is. The real trap of poverty is mental. When you start believing that struggle is all you'll ever know, you stop looking for exits. You stop believing they exist. This mindset gets reinforced by society, by peers, even by well-meaning family members who say, be realistic. But realistic doesn't mean settling. Realistic means understanding where you are, recognizing the challenges, and still believing that change is possible. History is full of people who started with nothing and built lives beyond what anyone expected. They didn't escape poverty because someone handed them a golden ticket. They escaped because they refused to accept struggle as their final chapter. They saw poverty as a chapter, not the whole book. The difference between someone who stays poor and someone who breaks the cycle often comes down to one simple thing: belief. Belief that the situation is temporary. Belief that effort will pay off. Belief that no matter how slow progress seems, it's better than standing still. Think about it this way. If you're in a dark room and you can't find the door, you don't sit down and say, well, I guess this is it. You keep feeling the walls. You keep moving. You might trip, you might stumble, but you don't stop. Because stopping means accepting the darkness as home. Poverty works the same way. It's a dark room, but there's always a door. Sometimes it's education, sometimes it's a skill, sometimes it's an opportunity you didn't expect. But you'll never find it if you convince yourself it doesn't exist. There's also the fear of failure. When you've struggled long enough, the idea of trying and failing feels worse than not trying at all. Why risk more disappointment when you're already tired? But that's the trap. Failure isn't what keeps people poor. Fear of failure is. Every successful person you admire has failed, probably more times than you can imagine. The difference is they didn't let failure convince them they were stuck. The moment you see poverty as a situation, not an identity, everything changes. It doesn't make the struggle easier, but it makes the fight worthwhile. It turns every rejection into a lesson, every setback into fuel. It shifts your mindset from why me to what's next. It's the belief that even if you start with nothing, you don't have to end with nothing. You might not control where you begin, but you absolutely have a say in where you go from here. Poor isn't just about money, it's about how you think. The mindset you carry determines how you navigate life, how you respond to challenges, and how you view opportunities. When people talk about poverty, they often focus only on the material side, lack of money, resources, or opportunities. But the truth is, Poverty starts in the mind long before it shows up in your bank account. If you believe you're destined to struggle, life will always find a way to make that belief true. The mind is powerful. It filters everything you experience and shapes your reality. Two people can face the same challenge, but their mindset will determine how they approach it. One person might see a closed door and walk away thinking, that's just my luck. Nothing ever works out for me. Another person might see the same closed door and think there has to be another way in. The situation is the same, but the mindset changes everything. Growing up around struggle can make poverty feel normal, even permanent. When you constantly hear phrases like, that's just how life is, or people like us don't get ahead, it's easy to accept those beliefs as truth. But they're not truths. They're stories passed down, reinforced by generations of struggle. They only become true if you believe them and stop trying to write a different story for yourself. Mindset poverty shows up in small ways. It's when you dismiss an opportunity because you think you're not qualified. It's when you don't try for a better job because you assume you'll never get it. It's when you avoid learning something new because you believe success is reserved for other people. This way of thinking builds walls around your potential, walls that only exist in your mind. One of the most dangerous aspects of a poverty mindset is comfort in struggle. It might sound strange, but struggle can become familiar, even comfortable. When you've spent years surviving paycheck to paycheck, dreaming bigger feels risky. What if you try and fail? What if you lose what little you have? That fear keeps people stuck, choosing familiar hardship over the unknown. But comfort in struggle is a trap. It convinces you that survival is the best you can hope for, when in reality, you're capable of so much more. Changing your mindset doesn't mean ignoring reality. If you're struggling to pay rent or put food on the table, positive thinking alone won't fix that. But it does mean refusing to accept struggle as your permanent condition. It means seeing obstacles as temporary, problems as challenges to solve, and failures as lessons, not endings. It also means being mindful of the people and influences around you. If you spend all your time with people who complain about life but never try to change it, that mindset will rub off on you. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who believe in growth, who talk about ideas and opportunities instead of limitations, your own perspective will start to shift. Education plays a huge role in mindset. And education doesn't just mean school. It means reading books, watching videos, listening to podcasts, and having conversations that challenge your thinking. Every new piece of knowledge expands your understanding of what's possible. It's hard to dream big when you've never seen what big looks like. That's why exposure matters. Gratitude is another powerful tool for shifting mindset. It's easy to focus on what you lack, but when you start appreciating what you have, your health, your skills, your time, you realize you already possess the foundation to build something better. Gratitude doesn't ignore struggle. It simply reminds you that struggle isn't the whole story. Breaking a poverty mindset takes work. It means catching negative thoughts and replacing them with more empowering ones. It means pushing yourself to try even when failure feels likely. It means believing in your ability to grow even if your circumstances say otherwise. The mind adapts to what you feed it. If you constantly feed it doubt and fear, those thoughts will shape your life. But if you feed it hope, resilience, and determination, those will shape your life instead. Talent and luck don't guarantee success. Hunger and determination do. Plenty of people are talented, and many get lucky breaks, but neither of those things will keep you moving when life gets hard. Hunger is the fuel that pushes you through rejection, failure, and disappointment. It's the difference between someone who dreams about success and someone who actually achieves it. Hunger is more than just wanting a better life. Everyone wants something, more money, more freedom, more comfort, but hunger is deeper. It's that burning feeling in your gut that won't let you settle. It's waking up early because you know every minute counts. It's staying up late to finish what you started even when you're tired. Hunger doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It works with what you have and finds a way forward no matter how small the step. The problem is many people confuse wishing with hunger. Wishing sounds like I hope things get better. Hunger sounds like I'm going to make things better, no matter what it takes. Wishing waits for an opportunity. Hunger creates one. Wishing complains about obstacles. Hunger finds a way around them. The world doesn't reward wishes, it rewards persistence. Hunger shows up in the little choices you make every day. Do you hit snooze or do you get up and start working on your goals? Do you spend hours scrolling through social media or do you invest that time learning a new skill? Do you let rejection knock you down or do you use it as motivation to push harder? Hunger doesn't make excuses. It doesn't say, I'll start tomorrow. It says, I'll start now, even if I'm scared, even if I'm tired, even if I don't know exactly what I'm doing. The most successful people aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to quit. They fail, they fall, and they get right back up. Hunger doesn't see failure as the end. It sees it as part of the process. Every no becomes motivation to work harder. Every closed door is a challenge to find another way in. Hunger also means being uncomfortable. Growth doesn't happen when you're cozy. It happens when you stretch yourself, when you try things you've never done, when you risk embarrassment or disappointment. People who succeed aren't fearless. They're just hungry enough to push through their fear. They know the pain of staying the same is worse than the pain of trying and failing. Another sign of hunger is sacrifice. If you're really hungry for success, you'll give up short-term comfort for long-term gain. That might mean working extra hours, saying no to social events, or spending money on education instead of entertainment. It's not always fun, but hunger keeps your eyes on the bigger prize. Displaying what you want in a bigger prize. Hunger also pushes you to be resourceful. You might not have money, connections, or experience, but hunger finds a way. It looks for free resources, reaches out to mentors, and keeps knocking on doors until one finally opens. Hunger doesn't accept, I can't. It asks, how can I? Some people lose their hunger once they reach a certain level of success. They get comfortable. And comfort kills progress. True hunger never disappears because it's not just about money or success. It's about growth, impact, and becoming the best version of yourself. Hunger keeps you learning, striving, and pushing past limits. It reminds you that where you start doesn't determine where you finish. It's the fire that separates those who dream from those who do. And the good news, hunger isn't something you're born with. It's something you build every time you choose effort over excuses, progress over comfort, and determination over doubt. Lack of connections, education, or past mistakes can't hold you back if you stay resilient. It's easy to look at successful people and think they had some advantage you didn't. Rich parents, fancy degrees, or the right people in their corner, but the truth is, none of that guarantees success. Plenty of people with advantages still fail, while others with nothing but determination rise to the top. What truly separates those who succeed from those who don't is resilience, the ability to keep pushing forward no matter what stands in the way. Connections can open doors, but they don't keep them open. You can know the most powerful people in the world, but if you don't have the drive and resilience to show up and deliver, those connections won't matter. On the flip side, people with no connections often create their own opportunities by showing up consistently and proving their worth. They build relationships through hard work and persistence, not because they were born into the right circle. Education is valuable, but it's not the only path to success. There are countless stories of people who never finished school but still built incredible lives because they refused to let a lack of formal education define them. They taught themselves, learned from experience, and stayed resilient in the face of rejection and failure. Education can give you knowledge, But resilience gives you the power to apply that knowledge when things get tough. Past mistakes often feel like the biggest obstacle of all. When you've failed before, it's easy to believe you're destined to fail again. But failure isn't what holds people back. It's the belief that failure defines them. Resilient people see mistakes as lessons, not labels. They take the hit, learn from it, and get back up stronger. Every successful person has a trail of failures behind them, but they didn't let those failures stop them. Resilience means refusing to let excuses control your life. It's easy to say, I don't know the right people, or I don't have the right degree, or I've made too many mistakes. But those are just stories you tell yourself to avoid the discomfort of trying again. Resilient people flip the script. They say, I'll find the right people. I'll learn what I need to know, and my past doesn't define my future. Life will always throw obstacles in your path. There will be days when everything feels like it's working against you, when rejection stings, and when progress feels painfully slow. Resilience is what keeps you moving forward anyway. It's the quiet voice that says, try one more time. It's the decision to show up, even when you're tired, discouraged, or scared. Resilience also means being adaptable. Sometimes the path you planned doesn't work out, and you have to find another way. People who succeed aren't the ones who never face setbacks. They're the ones who adjust, innovate, and keep going. They don't waste energy complaining about what's not working. They focus on what they can do next. Use what you have, time, skills, or even a tough job, as stepping stones. Too often people get stuck waiting for the right moment to start chasing their goals. They think they need more money, better connections, or perfect circumstances before they can take action. But life doesn't work that way. If you wait for everything to line up perfectly, you'll be waiting forever. The truth is, you already have something you can use to start moving forward. It might not be ideal, but it's enough to take the first step. Time is one of the most valuable resources you have. Everyone gets the same 24 hours in a day, but how you use them makes all the difference. Some people spend their evenings binge watching TV or scrolling through social media, while others use that time to learn a new skill, build a side hustle, or work on their dreams. It's not about having more time. It's about making the most of the time you already have. Even an hour a day can add up to something life-changing if you use it wisely. Skills are another powerful asset, and everyone has them. Maybe you're good at fixing things, writing, cooking, organizing, or teaching. These skills can be turned into opportunities if you look at them the right way. People often overlook their own abilities because they seem ordinary, but what's ordinary to you might be valuable to someone else. The key is to stop underestimating what you already know and start figuring out how to use it to your advantage. Even if you don't feel like you have any special skills, you can always learn. The internet has made it easier than ever to pick up new knowledge for free or at a low cost. You can learn coding, marketing, graphic design, or almost anything else from your phone or computer. The real question isn't whether you have the skills, it's whether you're willing to put in the effort to develop them. For many people, a tough job feels like a dead end, but it can actually be a stepping stone. Even if you hate your current job, it's teaching you something. The first step out of poverty is deciding you're worth more and taking action to prove it. Everything starts with a decision. You can have all the talent in the world, all the opportunities placed in front of you, but if you don't truly believe you deserve a better life, nothing will change. That belief is the foundation. It's the moment you stop saying, I wish things were different, and start saying, I'm going to make things different. Without that decision, every challenge feels like a wall. With it, those same challenges become hurdles you can jump. The decision to change doesn't happen by accident. It comes when you get tired of struggling, tired of watching life pass by, tired of feeling stuck. It's the moment when you realize that nobody's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. That might sound harsh, but it's also empowering. If you're the one responsible for your life, that means you're also the one with the power to change it. Once you make that decision, action has to follow. Without action, belief is just wishful thinking. It's easy to get excited about change for a day or two, but real transformation comes from consistent effort. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take the next step, no matter how small it seems. That might mean applying for a job you think is out of reach, starting a side hustle, learning a new skill, or simply waking up an hour earlier to work on your goals. Action also means being willing to fail. Fear of failure keeps a lot of people stuck because they see failure as proof that they're not good enough. But failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Every successful person you've ever admired has failed probably more times than you can imagine. The difference is they didn't let failure stop them. They learned from it, adjusted their approach, and kept going. Another crucial part of taking action is surrounding yourself with the right influences. If you spend your time with people who constantly complain, make excuses, and settle for less, it's hard to stay motivated. But when you're around people who are pushing themselves, setting goals, and believing in their potential, that energy rubs off on you. If you can't find those people in your immediate circle, look for them online, watch videos, read books, and listen to podcasts that inspire you to keep moving forward. It's also important to focus on what you can control. You might not be able to change where you were born, the opportunities you missed, or the struggles you faced, but you can control your attitude, your effort, and your willingness to keep trying. When you focus on what you can do instead of what you can't, you start to see progress. Taking action also means being patient with yourself. Change doesn't happen overnight. There will be days when you feel stuck, when progress seems slow, when doubt creeps in. That's normal. The key is to keep going anyway. Success isn't about never struggling. It's about refusing to give up when you do. Ultimately, deciding you're worth more and taking action to prove it is about self-respect. It's about looking at your life and saying, I deserve better, and I'm willing to work for it. Nobody can make that decision for you, but once you make it, everything starts to change. You start seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You start believing in solutions instead of excuses. And you start realizing that the life you want isn't as far away as it once seemed. It's within reach. You just have to decide to go after it and never look back.